On my graduation day, my brother smirked, "Enjoy the ceremony, we used your college fund." My mother sighed, "We had no choice." My hands trembled as I stared at them. I took a deep breath and said, "Then I hope you're ready for the real surprise." When I pulled out the legal documents, my family went silent. Graduation day had finally arrived. After 4 grueling years at the University of California, Berkeley, balancing coursework and part-time jobs, I was ready to celebrate this milestone. The campus buzzed with excitement as graduates in navy blue caps and gowns gathered in California Memorial Stadium. The sun was shining, and there was a gentle breeze, perfect weather for the ceremony. As I scanned the crowd, I spotted my family seated together. My younger brother, Jake, lounged casually with a smug grin on his face. Beside him, my mother sat with her hands clasped tightly in her lap, her gaze fixed downward. My father was notably absent, as he had been for most of our lives. After the ceremony, we convened near Sather Gate for the customary photos. My mother offered a weak smile, while Jake's grin widened. "Enjoy the ceremony?" Jake asked, his tone laced with sarcasm. "We used your college fund." I blinked, not sure I'd heard him correctly. "What did you say?" My mother sighed, avoiding eye contact. "We had no choice." A surge of confusion and anger welled up inside me. No choice? That money was set aside for my education. How could you just take it? Jake chuckled, a hint of amusement in his eyes. "Well, it's gone now." I felt my hands tremble as I clenched them into fists. Taking a deep breath, I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder containing legal documents. "Then I hope you're ready for the real surprise," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. Their expressions shifted from smugness to confusion as I handed them the papers. "What's this?" my mother asked, flipping through the pages. "Emancipation papers," I replied. I'd been legally independent since my sophomore year. I noticed discrepancies in my financial aid statements and took matters into my own hands. Jake's face paled. "You're joking, right?" "Oh, I'm very serious," I shot back. "Not only that, but I also reported the misuse of funds to the authorities. There will be an investigation." My mother's eyes filled with tears. "We were in a tough spot financially. We thought we could replace the money before you found out." I shook my head in disbelief. "You thought stealing from your own daughter was the solution?" "I had to take extra jobs to cover expenses I thought were being paid from that fund." Jake scoffed. "You're overreacting." "Overreacting?" I echoed, my voice rising. "You benefited from my hardship. While I was working late nights, you were enjoying the fruits of my labor." My mother reached out, but I stepped back. "I'm done being taken advantage of. From now on, I'm focusing on building a life free from betrayal." Turning on my heel, I walked away, leaving them standing in stunned silence. The weight that had been pressing on my chest for years began to lift with each step I took toward my future. As I walked away from them that day, cap in hand, diploma folder pressed to my side, I didn't feel proud. I felt hollow. My entire college experience had been under a lie. I thought I was building something with my family behind me, supporting me. But they weren't behind me. They were using me. I thought that was the end of it. I thought filing for emancipation, cutting contact, and starting my life fresh would be enough. It wasn't. A few weeks after graduation, I got a call from the financial aid office. They wanted me to come in. Something about clarifying a few entries. I went, confused, thinking maybe there was leftover paperwork. The woman across the desk, Miss Leong, pulled out a thick folder with my name on it. "There are some inconsistencies here," she said, gently. My stomach dropped. "What kind of inconsistencies?" I asked. She flipped to a page and turned it toward me. It was a copy of a tuition payment, one I never made. In fact, the bank account listed didn't belong to me. But it was in my name. "Did you authorize this?" she asked. I stared at it. The handwriting looked eerily familiar. It was my mother's. "No," I said. "That's not my account." Miss Leong sighed. "There are 5 of these. They were used to pay tuition during your sophomore and junior years." My mind was racing. "But I thought I was paying all that through my part-time jobs and the aid." She nodded. "You were. But these payments showed up later. They appear to have come from an inheritance fund in your name. We assumed it was family support." I was stunned. That fund was closed when I turned 18. Or so I was told. Turns out, my mother had somehow kept control over it and quietly drained it through forged documents. But it got worse. The next day, I got a text from my cousin, Marla. "You need to call your grandmother now." I hadn't spoken to Grandma June since before college. Not because of any bad blood, I was just always busy, and my mother discouraged me from reaching out. I figured it was just old family drama. I called. She picked up on the first ring. "Oh my God," she said. "Is it true?" I paused. "Is what true?" "That you're suing your mother?" she asked, voice sharp. I blinked. "How do you know that?" She went quiet for a second. Then said something that almost made me drop my phone. She came to me asking for money to settle it quietly. Said you were out of control. Said you had a breakdown. My mouth went dry. "What?" "She said you were lying. That you forged the documents, not her. She's telling everyone in the family that you're blackmailing her." That's when it hit me, this wasn't just about the money. My mother was trying to flip the story. She'd started a smear campaign behind my back. And it was working. In the days that followed, I got messages from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. Some were angry, accusing me of ruining the family. Others were confused, trying to understand what was happening. My aunt even showed up at my apartment, unannounced, begging me to let it go. I refused. That's when my brother Jake posted on Facebook. A long post. Full of lies. My sister's trying to destroy our family over a misunderstanding. She's been unstable since college started. She isolated herself and now she's after our mom for money that doesn't even exist anymore. The comments were brutal. Some defended me, others tore me apart. Friends from high school who barely knew me were suddenly weighing in. I realized then, this wasn't just a family issue anymore. This was a full-on war. But I wasn't going to back down. Because I had something they didn't. Proof. Bank statements. Emails. Forged documents. Witnesses. And a lawyer. But even with all that, I knew things were going to get uglier before they got better. I wasn't ready for what came next. The Facebook post was just the start. A week later, I was sitting in my tiny studio apartment in Oakland, scrolling through job listings, when I got a knock on the door. It was loud, impatient. I opened it. 2 men in suits were standing there. One flashed a badge. "Are you, my full name?" "Yes, we'd like to ask you some questions regarding an ongoing fraud investigation." I froze. Fraud? They handed me a subpoena. Apparently, someone, anonymously, had reported me for financial fraud. Identity theft. Money laundering. I laughed out of shock. "You think I'm the one who stole the money?" "We're just following up on all leads." I let them in, shaking, my heart hammering in my chest. I showed them everything, my legal emancipation, the forged documents, the financial aid records, the emails. They were polite but non-committal. After they left, I called my lawyer. He was quiet for a minute, then said, "They're trying to turn it around on you." "You think my mother did this?" "Absolutely." I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I got an email from Berkeley's administration. They were temporarily freezing my diploma due to the investigation. That broke me. I had done everything right. worked, studied, lived on ramen noodles, slept in the library more times than I could count. And now? My name was being dragged through mud, my degree was on hold, and my own family had painted me as a criminal. But then, something unexpected happened. A voicemail. It was from someone I hadn't heard from in years, my dad. The man who vanished when I was 10. The man my mother said abandoned us without a word. His message was short, shaky. Hey. I heard what's happening. If you want to talk. I think there's something you need to know. About your mom. And the money. Call me. I didn't know what to do. My first instinct was to delete it. But curiosity won out. I called him. He answered immediately, like he'd been holding the phone in his hand. He sounded tired, older than I remembered. After a moment of silence, he said, I didn't leave. Your mom kicked me out. What? She caught me asking questions about your college fund when you were a kid. I noticed money disappearing. She was scared I'd go to the police. She filed for divorce and told everyone I cheated. I didn't. But I didn't fight back. I didn't want to drag you and Jake through it. I sat there, stunned. You're saying she's been stealing since then? Yes. And she's done worse. He told me he had records. Bank transfers. Emails from her lawyer. Even a recording of a call where she admitted she used my inheritance to cover Jake's failed business attempt 2 years ago, one he told me never happened. I asked him why he never reached out. He hesitated. I tried. She blocked me. She told the school I was a danger. Said you had a restraining order. I figured you hated me. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. Why are you helping me now? Because I finally found out what she's doing to you. And because I should have stopped her when I had the chance. I met with him a few days later in a coffee shop in San Jose. He brought everything, documents, emails, voice messages. One of them was a call between her and Jake, where they laughed about how easy it was to fake signatures and keep me busy while they cleaned out the leftovers. The man I once thought was a coward turned out to be my biggest ally. With my lawyer's help, we added his evidence to our case. Suddenly, things shifted. The financial aid department reopened their internal review, and Berkeley lifted the hold on my diploma. But just as I started to feel like things were turning around, my mom did something I didn't expect. She filed a restraining order against me. She claimed I was harassing her, threatening her safety, and stalking Jake. She attached edited screenshots of text messages. Some that I never even sent. Her story? That I became violent after graduation, that I was mentally unstable, and that they were afraid I'd hurt someone. The court date was set. And once again, I found myself staring down the barrel of a battle I didn't ask for. But this time? I wasn't alone. I had my dad. I had proof. And I had nothing left to lose. The courtroom was quiet except for the low hum of the ceiling fans and the occasional shuffle of papers. My mother sat across the room, her face carefully blank, her lawyer flipping through a folder. Jake sat beside her, arms crossed, not even trying to make eye contact with me. I felt the pit in my stomach tighten. My dad sat behind me. He gave me a small nod when I glanced back. I still wasn't used to him being there again, but he showed up. That meant something. The judge looked over the restraining order documents and then at me. Do you have any evidence to refute these claims, Ms., my last name? My lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. Substantial evidence. Including witness testimony, audio recordings, and proof of document forgery submitted by the petitioner and her son. The next hour unfolded like a movie I never wanted to be in. First came the emails. Forged bank documents from my mother's computer. A financial advisor's testimony confirming that she requested withdrawals from my college fund using power of attorney after I turned 18. Then came the audio clip. The one where my mother said to Jake, "Let her work herself to death." She thinks she's doing it all on her own. Idiot doesn't even know we pulled the last of the money for your app crap. Jake looked like he'd seen a ghost. His foot tapped uncontrollably under the table. Then came the final blow. A video recording, captured by my dad months earlier, where my mom admitted to making up the restraining order claims to protect her reputation. The courtroom was dead silent. Even her lawyer looked blindsided. The judge's voice was calm but firm. The request for the restraining order is denied. And I am recommending a formal investigation into financial misconduct and fraud. My mother's mask cracked for the first time. This is your fault, she hissed at Jake, loud enough that everyone heard. Jake snapped. You said no one would find out. You told me it was legal. You didn't stop me. You said she was crazy, you lied to me too. The judge slammed the gavel once. Enough. If you can't maintain order, I'll clear the room. But the damage was done. My family was unraveling in front of everyone. Outside the courtroom, my Aunt Marla stood by the hallway, arms crossed. She'd been silent through it all, unsure which side to believe. Now, her face was filled with something I hadn't seen from her in years, shame. She told us you went off the rails, she said to me quietly. She said you were unstable. I'm sorry. I should have asked you first. I just nodded. I didn't have the energy to speak. Later that night, Jake called me. I didn't answer at first. He left a voicemail. I didn't know she was lying about everything. I wanted to believe she was doing the right thing. I was stupid. I'm sorry. He sounded broken. For a second, I felt pity. Then I remembered the years I worked late into the night, not knowing he was using my future as a cash machine. My mom never called. But she did send a letter through her lawyer, cold, clipped, accusing me of tearing the family apart. No apology. No explanation. Just blame. A few weeks passed. Berkeley cleared my diploma. I got a job offer from a nonprofit in Seattle. I took it. The night before I moved, I met my dad one last time. We sat on a bench in Dolores Park, the city lights glittering behind us. I'm sorry I wasn't there, he said. I'm not sure I can forgive you. Not yet, I said. But I appreciate that you came back. He nodded. That's fair. There was a long pause, then he said, you're stronger than both of them put together. I smiled, a tired, bitter smile. I had to be. As I packed my last box in my tiny apartment, I looked around at the silence. There was no celebration. No tearful goodbyes. No family gathering. But there was peace. And in that peace, there was something close to healing. I still think about it sometimes, how easily trust can be used as a weapon. How people you love can twist things so deeply you forget your own truth. But I survived. And maybe that's the real story here. Not revenge. Not justice. Just surviving the fallout and choosing to walk forward anyway. Even if you're walking alone.